Hi everyone, happy Wednesday on Thursday. Sorry, I'm a day late and a dollar short. I've been sick in bed for 5 days and I made sure I was going to drag myself out of bed today and get this thing done. And so I have two questions for you today. The one that I'm going to read to you here shortly, but also this question. How well does your intuition work when your head is all foggy with Dayquil? Okay, so I guess we get to find that one out together, don't we? I have a question here, and the question is, would a long-distance marriage work? And this gal goes on to say that there's this job, and it's in a very, very niche arena. I guess it's in the public sector, and there's only one employer, and there's only 10 posts across the whole country for this job. And you are ranked by your location, and the top 10 candidates are given the jobs in order of preference. She applied for the job earlier this year, and her husband knew how nervous she was about it. But the allocations have come out, and she was given a split post. So it's 6 months in another state, about an 8-hour drive away, and then 6 months in her city. That's a training program of 12 months, after which she can work anywhere she wants. So, and commutable. He says that she cannot take the job because he can't get a job in another state for 6 months. And she says, I get that, but I suggested long distance, and he's saying that it would end our marriage. I love him, and I don't want to throw it away over a job, but this is a job I've dreamed of since I was a little girl, and I think turning it down would also lead to resentment and damage. So to be clear, the 6 months away is a one-time thing. It's a 12-month training post, after which, 6 months after which I'd be home, and commutable. So again, the question begs, would a long-distance marriage work? And now that we have some context and we know, right? We know what the situation is. Now we just need to ask the questions, right? Or ask the right questions, see what Spirit has to say. I am going to switch cameras on you, and listen, I'm using the Everyday Witch deck because, frankly, my head's kind of foggy, and I just wanted to give myself a break. This is a deck I know and I'm comfortable with. Alrighty, so I've already shuffled the cards. I'm going to do a 5-card carnival. I'm going to ask about the subject matter. I want to know that Spirit is here with us by validating the subject, what precipitates that subject, what we can do to help ourselves, or what she can do to help the situation, what she can do to hinder the situation, and advice from Spirit. Okay, then we will throw out one more. We'll give Spirit a last. We'll give them a last say. How's that? Okay, so let's get started. We have the Star, okay? And, oftentimes we see this as, as healing. We see it as inspiration. We see it as hope for the future. But, oftentimes I see this card, I usually see one big star, on the card. And I think about the Star of David. I think about it leading the wise men to Jerusalem. I see it as the light at the end of the tunnel. So for me, when I see this card, I do think about healing, but I also think about follow the light, follow the light. There's a path, there's a light at the end of the tunnel, right? And there's a way to get to that. And that would be this job. This job is, something's come up that's, it's making, the journey's not an easy journey, okay? So I think that that is a lot of the point, and looking for inspiration and looking for a way to get where we need to go. And what precipitates that, what causes us to have to ask that, or ask, the star of that, it's the King of Wands, right? So we have a King of Wands. I'm thinking that is her husband. And the reason why we're asking this is because her husband is this big fat, obstacle that's blocking the path at the moment. Now let's talk about the King of Wands. He's full of passion. He's full of energy. He's kind of full of himself too. This can be an extremely arrogant individual. I see this particular king as being excruciatingly smart. He's the kind of guy that can pull a really strange, solution to a problem out of thin air. He's that capable and that creative that he can do that. But he's a grandstander. He's a whiner and a crybaby, and he's saying that that the marriage won't survive if she leaves. So how much of it is his, how much of it is just his inability, his insecurity of having to be alone with himself, God forbid, for a week at a time, and have to take care of himself and not have everybody waiting on him. How much of it is that, and how much of it is ego and him not wanting her to succeed beyond him because it makes him feel like he's less of a man because she's getting this huge, upcomings in life. So that, I think, is the issue. And I think that's what's brought us to this issue. That's brought us to where she needs to see some kind of a light at the end of the tunnel for herself. And I think that validates very clearly that Spirit is here with us. So what can she do to help herself? Okay, so what is the situation here? We have the moon. And when the moon comes out, it's an emotional time. It is a confusing time. We can't see clearly, with all the reflection and everything. We can't really see the situation clearly. One of the things I love about this card in this deck, the Everyday Witch, is you can see this little kitty cat standing by the waterside, right? And then the reflection is that big, fat, huge puma looking back at him. So we are not seeing things as they are. And I think that in order for her to help the situation, she needs to set aside the emotion. She needs to declutter the situation and take some of the unknowns out of the equation. So this is a matter of creating a plan and making it so that it's very clear. Get rid of that confusion. And I think that that's what's going to, help show him that this isn't this big, ugly, scary thing that he thinks it is right now and that he's running on emotion. All right, so and that's number one. Part two of that is how can she hinder herself? Well, I'll tell you what, we've got an 8 and we've got an 8 of Wands, and this is about, and I love the depiction because this is about everything being up in the air, right? She's trying to manage something. She's got see the cat in her one hand, and she's trying to manage all those sticks in the other, and she's got this huge whirlwind of him behind her, creating all this havoc and hot air. And so it's kind of like being on this wave or catching this wave and having this wave kind of like take you along, and you really, where are you going to go with this? I think that she's going to hinder herself by, let's put it this way. It's movement, it's motion. It's scattered motion that needs to be wrangled, and she needs to get grounded. She needs to be centered, and she needs to get organized. She needs to take the information that she has, or that's, maybe it's not the information coming in like we know the 8 of Wands to be. Maybe it's the information she needs to get out of her head and from everything she's been doing and get it down on paper and get this plan down and have all of the caveats of that plan. Here's our what if, here's all our scenarios and all the things that we need to discuss and look at. He is really quite creative. He could help her come up with a plan that would suit him as well, and that would take him into consideration. If she can just get the fear out of him right now. And I don't know, but she needs to figure out what that fear is. Is it fear of being alone, or is it fear of showing him up? Get his ego set aside, and then together I think they can work on that plan. But what's going to hinder her is not being grounded and letting him drag her off in this craziness. So, 2 of Pentacles. This is our advice from Spirit. And it's amazing because we have the infinity here, right? So it can be about weighing options, but you know what? In my eyes, the Two of Pentacles says you can balance, you can do both of these things. It's a multitasking card. You can do everything and balance everything you need to. He's kind of the cat that's trying to take the balance off of her, right? So you can see the cat trying to jump down and skew the scales. But you know what? She's smart cookie. She can keep this going. She can give in this relationship. She can drive home every Friday night, gets home late and leaves on Sunday. She loses most of she loses her whole weekend, but she's home with her husband for a day and a half every week if that's what's needed. But she can make that work if she wants to save the marriage and if he's willing. And you know what? The infinity symbol tells me she can do it forever if she has to in order to make this work. And she only needs to do it for 6 months. So the advice from Spirit, make it work. Find the balance, multitask, and you can make it work. So yes, the answer is yes, yes, you can make this work. Let's see what final word from Spirit is, okay? Okay. So here we have the Empress, right? She's so busy playing mother. She really just needs to look at herself as an individual and quit being his mother. He needs to step up and be an adult. But you know what? This card it's about creativity. So is this in a way, right? It's like finding a way to make that balance work. You can create whatever in life you want. You just have to do it. Surely it is associated with things, how things make us feel. But I don't see it as that in this thing. I see this as in, you know what, we have a calling for something. Let nature take its course. Try to work through the plan. Try to give him time, a little bit of time. I would accept the job because you can always tell them later, I changed my mind, I'm not going to take the job. But at least buy yourself some time to get him on the program. But you need to be creative and you need to expand your horizons. And you know what? You need to help him find a way to get over whatever it is. But you're going to have to just use all your creative talents to figure it out, what it is that's holding him back, and see if you can make that work. If he still says no and you can't do anything about it, that's a different reading, right? That's something a lot more serious. But I would try this first. Now the star, again, that light at the end of the tunnel, that's a 17. 1 plus 7 is 8, and we have another 8. So, we just need to bring it to conclusion, which would be our 9. So, yeah, good luck with that. Anyway, does that answer the question? I thought it was pretty clear. I thought Spirit did a good job of helping me today. I will be back every Wednesday. I'll try not to be late again. And I also, by the way, have some great videos coming out, and I've got a couple I've already just recently done on some spreads. And one of them, which I will put in the bottom down here, is or I'll put on my end screen here. Please watch that next video. It's why one card yes no answers are just stupid. Okay, so I will see you next time. Bye bye.